folks, how you doing? Papa Joe here. I got asked a question today on the YouTube channel. Let me put my eyeballs on. And it's from Howie Lane. Howdy, Howie. Thanks for subscribing. Hope you've been learning something. Hope you've been enjoying it. He says, I'm just getting started and deciding, plain and simple, is the trucking industry worthwhile? I want what the next guy wants, a good life doing something. Well, Howie, I don't know how long you've been on my channel, buddy. There's something you ought to know about me, and that is I try to be honest with you and me. I had a little radio show that we was doing, and the thing is, on it, we had a saying, no sugar added. And that's pretty much how I am. Now, I'll joke around and carry on as well as the next guy. But when somebody asks me a question like you did, I assume you want the plain and simple truth. Simple Living with Papa Joe gives out the simple truth. So, let's look at the trucking industry. I assume you're fairly young. Don't know. If you want to have a regular life, married, have kids, white picket fence, going to the PTA meetings, being actually active in your children's life, which I was in the beginning of my kids' life, trucking ain't it. If you get into trucking over the road, you're not going to see the baby's first step. You're not going to make the birthday parties. You're not going to make the PTA. You're not going to see them playing t-ball. You're going to miss a whole lot of holidays. You're going to miss them kids' lives growing up. Plain and simple. If you're going to come out here and just be a truck driver and drive for one of these big mega companies, in my opinion, it ain't worth it. The sacrifices that you make to the family, and even if you don't have kids, the sacrifices you make to your wife, your extended family, brothers and sisters and all that, it ain't worth it. Not anymore. It ain't worth it. Your life's going to be on the road. You'll see them very few times during the year, your extended family and whatnot. If you're married and got kids, you'll see them. A lot of these companies out here don't like you to go home but every 3, 4, 5 weeks. Some of them will keep you out 6 or 8 weeks. And when they do let you go home, they only want you to go home for 2 or 3 days. There's a few exceptions to the rules. And this is where you have to be careful, like I've told you in other videos. Not literally you. You have to be careful listening to some of these other truck drivers, because they talk shit. Point blank. Oh, I tell my company I'm going home for 3 weeks and they kiss my ass. They're blowing smoke. It don't work that way. And you're not going to be dictating to these companies as a company driver. So to me, if you can get trained or are trained in something else, and you want a real family and a real life, you don't want to come here. Go do whatever else you've been trained for. That's the simple truth. Now there is a flip side. You notice I gave you the worst scenario first. There is a flip side. If you are an individual that can put together a plan and stick to that plan and not let others drastically sway you, being you're new to the industry and learning, you can tolerate a little bit of swaying because you got to learn. But if you can put together a plan, the trucking industry can provide you a decent life. I've been out here 25 years, well, actually over it now, quite a bit over it. I'm pushing 30 years out here. And I've made a pretty damn decent living. There's a few tricks. For one thing, don't come out here being the know-it-all truck driver. We have plenty of them. Be open-minded and listen to some people that you think have got some common sense and some knowledge. Don't listen to all these blowhards that are just telling the DOT off, and they're telling their dispatch off, and they're whooping this person's ass, and they do these super trucker miles, and they get paid $50,000 a mile, and you gotta be able to sort through the bullshit. And normally I don't cuss like this, but I'm putting it simple and plain, point blank. And when it's bullshit, you need to call it bullshit. And there's a lot of it that gets spread out here. Now, if you put together a plan, there's two different routes you could go down and still make decent money. First off, I do recommend you to come out over the road. I recommend that you get on, and it don't get on with a mega company, it don't matter. Because you're using them. They're going to use you, but you're using them. So you both are using each other. You're using them to get to know how to drive a truck. You're going to do a little damage to them. Transmission, clutch. You're going to ding and dang here and there. Get all that learning stuff on someone else's equipment. Now, get you 2 to 3 years under your belt. Minimum 2 years, dude. If you sign on with a company, let them put you through training, or you can go through your training, let somebody pay you back, however you do your training. You might have said you already had your CDLs, but get your training and stick with one company for a minimum of 2 years. That right there can do a lot for your career, believe it or not. Stick it out for a minimum of 2 years. Now, you might hate it. After the first year, you might despise the hell out of them. Oh, I can't wait to get away from them. I want to go. Stick it out your second year. Have a plan. Stick to your plan. Now, you've got 2 years minimum with this company. You got 2 things you can do, in my opinion. The best way to make money in these trucks is specialized freight. Now, there's who is it, Bennett? I think out of Jackson, Georgia, I think they're out of. They haul specialized freight. I think They're mostly owner-operators, but I believe they have a few trucks that they can start you out on. And they'll start you small and work you up. They're not going to take you and put you on some big monster load. But if you can get with a company like that, after 2 years experience, and they might require 3, so do your homework. So don't quit that first company until you can meet the qualifications. And that's another big thing in trucking. So many of these truck drivers get mad and quit, and then they're looking for a job and they're unemployed. That's the hardest way to find a job. Plus now you're desperate because you need to get a paycheck coming in, and these companies can smell it. I've got somebody talking to me right now, and it just blows them away because they started talking to me like I was desperate, and I said, well, hold on, I've got a good job. I said, but I'd be a fool not to listen to what you have to offer me. But I have a good job. I'm not unemployed and looking. And that just messes their mind up. They don't know how to take it. But start feeling your way out to get into specialized trucking. I really enjoyed hauling boats, but I don't recommend it to you. Simply because in the last 5 years, there's so many of the big mega companies that are now getting into hauling boats, and the price of rates are going down big time. We was making some damn good money running boats into Canada, and now you have Maverick, you have Warner. I've seen several of the big mega companies out here that are now hauling boats. And they do what all them mega boats or mega companies do. They go in there and they start slashing the rates so that they can beat this guy out, and the rates are just bottoming out. But you can still get into specialized oversized hauling. Oversized does not always mean overweight. There's a pretty good niche out there where you can get you some kind of a low boy trailer, one that's not very high off the ground. There's a whole lot of over height loads out there that pays decent, but they're just too tall to fit on a regular flatbed. So a lot of them are tractors and sprayers, fertilizer sprayers, and different things. Now, you work your way on up and you get into some of them big mega loads. You got to have some experience under your belt. You got to have some time under your belt. And you can get up there and start making some decent money. You have to pay your dues. And in this day and age, so many people want to come out here. Oh, I've got my CDLs. I've had them for 3 days. Now I need to make top money hauling them big loads. It don't work that way. The industry is ruled by the insurance, and the insurance will laugh at you. So pay your dues, get your time in with that first company, find you a company that will start training you on oversized loads, and pay your dues and work your way up. Inside of 10 years, you can be making some damn good money, and you can build you something to retire off of. And or buy your own truck while you're in the process. But buy your truck. Don't lease a truck. Buy your own truck. That's a different video, and there's one already made about the minor parts of it. A lot more than I went into details on. Alright, now another thing that you can do. You've got your 2 years with that company. We done backed up again. Now, consider going local. There are some decent local jobs out there. Now, there's a lot more jobs that want to take advantage of you. one of my pet peeves is that they seem to think that if you want to be at home, then you need to sacrifice your dollars. They're still making decent money, but they want you to get okay money. No, I want decent money. So as you're getting close to your 2 years with that first company, start doing your research around your area. And if you're in the country, you might consider getting a grain hauler, a grain hopper, a bottom hopper, whatever you want to call it. You might consider hauling grain. If you go doing that, you need to consider all year. Yeah, you've got your main harvest season where everybody and their brother just hauling as fast as they can to the mill, and you make pretty good money from my understanding. I've never done it. But then you've got another, 8 or 10 months out of the year. What do you do with that? So you need to, if you're going to consider that, you need to be considering hauling grain over the road. And that doesn't mean you have to stay out for weeks on end. That's where it takes a little bit of homework. Find somebody, talk to people, and put together a plan, man. You might consider getting your own truck and having an end up. Talk to some of your construction companies around you, the rock quarry plants, asphalt plants, we call that hot rock. See if you can haul some hot rock. That's a little bit of seasonal, depends upon where you live, on how seasonal it is, but you can make some decent money doing that and still get home. If you're a young man and you're good and healthy and you want to stay fit, talk to Coca-Cola or Pepsi, Budweiser. There's a lot of them companies that not only do they have routes that you can run, they have 18-wheelers, and they have 18-wheeler routes, or they have just dedicated run from this yard to this yard. You can make decent money. So it all depends upon your plan. I'm not going to sit there and tell you, oh yes, getting trucking, it's so fun. No. I'm going to lay it out there for you, the truth. The trucking industry has one of the highest divorce rates of any occupation in the U.S. And that's because we're always gone. The wife is left at home to deal with everything. And you're not making that good of money to compensate for what she's having to put up with. It takes one hell of a woman to be married to a trucker. That's a fact. It takes one hell of a woman to be married to anybody that is gone all the time. One of my sons is looking at getting a job where he'll be traveling a lot. Not trucking, but he'll still be traveling a lot. And we've told him and the daughter-in-law, because he tried this once before and it didn't go over well. Well, they've grown, they've matured, the kids are older, and he's being offered one hell of a job that's going to be hard to turn down. And my wife has told him and the daughter-in-law multiple times, honey, I know what it's like to live with a husband that's gone. If you need to talk, come talk to me. You know? So we are going to attempt to help them through this period of her learning. But short and sweet answer, you ask for it plain and simple. If you want to come out here and just be a regular truck driver, like a bunch of these other fools, no, it ain't worth your time. The money is not there anymore. And with the regulations and the new ELDs and all this, It ain't worth it. It really ain't. If you think about it and you want to start putting together a plan and be more than just a truck driver, then yes, there is money still to be made. But you have to look for it. But ain't that in any industry, dude? Any industry? If you want to go into the plant and just be an assembly worker, you're an assembly worker. But if you want to go into that plant and be a tool man, or you want to be a welder, or you want to be a leader, or you want to have plans to work your way up, then there you go. It's the same thing in trucking. You want to come out and just be a typical peon truck driver, or do you want to have a plan and say, this is what I'm going to do? That's all I got for you. If you got questions, by all means, post them in the comments, and I'll give you my honest opinion. Of course, you understand that even with me making this video, there's very likely to be some drivers going to get on here and they're going to give you unsolicited advice. At least mine was solicited. You asked for it. Anytime they do that, whether it's on this video or on your comments, you have to weigh it out on, are they really being honest, or what they telling you, is it the truth, or are they just blowing smoke up your skirt and telling you the grass is on fire? I hope this helped you, man. Let me know what you do. People like you that's got an inquiring mind and got the gall to ask questions like this, I often wonder what happened to them. Remember, God loves you, and so do I. God bless you in your career, man. Whatever path you go down, I hope the good Lord blesses you with a fruitful career. Have a blessed evening. Bye.